All right, Gerald Griggs, good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Hey, Craig, how you doing?
Man, could be better. Seems like, every week is something, a new obstacle to climb and a new thing to get over, man. So, what can you tell us about the Brooks murder?
Well, our dear brother, Rayshard Brooks, was asleep in a drive-thru at Wendy's off of University in Pryor. He was awakened by law enforcement, took some field sobriety evaluations. They tried to take him into custody. A struggle ensued. He ran away and was shot in the back and killed.
Man, so we've done a lot of protests, over the previous incidents that we had. Where do we go from here? Like, what is the next step to, make sure this doesn't happen again today, tomorrow, next week, next month?
Well, this morning, we're going to the Georgia State Capitol, and we're going to get legislative change. We are marching from the Richard B. Russell building down to the state capitol. We're bringing thousands, and we're going to send a message directly to our elected officials. It's time for legislative change to prevent this from ever happening again.
Absolutely. Attorney Griggs, I wanted to ask you, this is Ange, regarding like state law. So we know state law allows certain things, it varies from state to state. Is there a law that protects these officers when, to shoot somebody when they're running and things like that? Is that part of changing the legislation, is like rewriting a particular clause or piece of law?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They have qualified immunity and they have sovereign immunity, which keeps protecting them. And that's why we're taking our action directly to the state lawmakers to change the law. We want legal change immediately, and we're going to occupy that space until we get it.
All right, now, people have been talking about the Obama, 21st century reform bill. How come the Congress hasn't really, enforced it the way they should?
That's an excellent question. And that's why we're taking our demands directly to not only the state capitol, but we will be going to Washington, because they need to enact legislation that empowers the 21st Century Police Initiative, which is a solution. It will remove the impediments that are preventing people from getting justice, just like my brother Chris Stewart was saying. That there are alternative moves, there are alternative steps that are in that initiative that would solve this problem. But since from 2015 to now, not one state house has fully implemented it, not one police department, and the federal government has not empowered it through legislation or an executive order. So we're demanding that immediately.
Attorney Griggs, can I ask you too? The police chief was forced to resign via Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. What are your thoughts on the police chief resigning?
My thoughts are the Georgia NAACP demanded her resignation, and that's why she resigned. With regard to Keisha, we feel like she needs to do more. She needs to be transparent with the people. She needs to meet with the protesters. And if we don't have our demands met, more resignations will be called for.
Got you. Now, Attorney Griggs. Oh, go ahead, L'Oreal, real quick.
I was going to ask how you feel about the other police chief that was encouraging the officers that got fired to come to his unit and him getting suspended as well.
I believe that was the right step for him to be suspended. The problem right now is there is a thought process in policing that they're above the law, and it's absolutely not true. So we fully expect charges to come against the officers that killed our dear brother, Mr. Brooks. We will be speaking with the district attorney. We expect charges on Wednesday, and we will continue to hold accountable any police department and any police union that tries to come out and defend this violation of the law and violation of moral standards.
Your mic's not working, Billy. Real quick now, I don't know if you got a chance to hear the audio about the, with the police chief that came up on the scene and was, seemingly more concerned about the wrong things. In case you missed it, take a listen.
Sunday marked the 20th consecutive day across the nation, with protests fighting against police brutality in the wake of the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, and the Rayshard Brooks killing further galvanizing anti-racism and police brutality protests in Atlanta. A Wendy's restaurant where this all happened appears to have been set ablaze by a masked white woman, according to bystanders videoing the fire. Crime Stoppers of Greater Atlanta is offering a $10,000 reward for information that will lead to the arrest and indictment of the individuals responsible. Mike Bauer, NBC News Radio.
Yeah, now when the police chief walked up, he was like, more so, hey, are you okay? Okay, no, you're going to be straight. We're going to straighten this out. It seemed like he was more concerned about, you're supposed to be concerned about your fellow law enforcement officer, but it seemed like the least of his concerns was about the man that they just murdered in the parking lot.
Right.
And we've even gone as far as getting emails this morning, Attorney Griggs, about that. People have been saying like, well, he would have never got killed if he didn't run. What's your take on that?
Well, the case law is quite clear. Tennessee versus Gardner says you cannot execute a man simply because he's running away from the police. And people need to understand that there are laws in this state and laws all over the country that prevent this type of behavior. He may have been guilty of DUI, and again, that's an open question because, again, there was no real state-administered test. But even so, the punishment for DUI is 12 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. It's not execution on the side of the road. And for that police chief that came upon the scene and was more interested in protecting his officers than protecting and serving the community, we will have a conversation with him and the mayor about that activity.
All right, man. Attorney Griggs, I know you got places to be, things to do. Appreciate you taking this time to come chat with us this morning, man. And if people want to follow you, where do they go?
You can follow me on all social platforms at Attorney Griggs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Or you can go to the Atlanta NAACP on all platforms. We will be down at the Richard B. Russell building this morning, and we'll be headed to the Capitol to get legislative change.
All right, thank you so much. One time from Attorney Gerald Griggs.
Yeah, man.
We are the Morning Hustle.